Hey guys, it's Mark Moppin. I'm here with Todd Chung. I am super excited about Todd being here tonight because he's my go-to guy. I'm a lead generator. Um, I'm old. I don't like to go out to find the houses I don't want to go negotiate deals with people, but I have the ability to find deals. And Todd's my guy because he knows how to have a warehouse full of buyers. So, Todd, I'm thrilled you're here. I'm thrilled you're going to give us some tips. I'm thrilled you're going to talk about our mentoring program or the mentoring program you're doing. And with that, I welcome Todd Chung, and I will turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. I appreciate that also. And we're going to talk a lot about wholesaling today. And please, in the comment section, we'd love to meet you. You could tell us what market you're in, your experience level in wholesaling, and also your contact information. Okay. And I'll put my information in there. Well, you can see my name and number right there. If you want to reach out to me, you could call me, you could text me. Text is probably the best. And I'll get back with you for sure. But today we're going to talk about wholesaling, and I'm going to talk for probably a good hour. And then we're going to open it up for questions and answering anything wholesaling that you want to that you might want to ask or talk about or get some insight on, or if any, wholesaling. I see there's a lot of people here that are not just in the Michigan market. That's my market. I started off. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and where I started and things like that. And I started off wholesaling 6 years ago as of January 1st, 2017. That was a few months prior. I was working a job of 23 years, running a company, loved it. And I just realized that things were changing and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I'd never heard of wholesaling. And a few months prior to me firing my boss, I found out about wholesaling. Started going to some local meetups. I just couldn't believe I didn't know because I was kind of in the business. I worked with a mortgage company. I ran a mortgage company. And we had a lot of rental properties. We were buying at the foreclosure auction. We were investors. I worked for a company and we were buying houses and doing investing. I was an employee though. That's the difference. No regrets. I heard about wholesaling and did my first deal, quit my job January 1st, 2017. So I help a lot of people. I try to teach people what I know. And I try to teach people the mistakes that I've done so they don't make the same mistakes in the last 6 years. I've done many fix and flips in the city of Detroit. Started wholesaling. My main business, 90% of my business was in the city of Detroit, in Detroit, Michigan. I knew the city well and had a lot of connections there. And we were flipping 12, I think we had like 12 fix and flips going on at one time. I do not suggest that. And I was wholesaling. And we had a property management company. And we had some rental property. So it's a little much. But now I currently wholesale in all of Michigan, the full state of Michigan. Okay, that's where I'm wholesaling right now. And so I still do fix and flips. My partner and I, we're doing 1 to 2 fix and flips at a time. That's all we want to manage. Okay. We don't want to do any more than that. You buy one, you fix it, you get it halfway done, and you go find another one and you buy it, you finish the other one, you sell it, and you start fixing the other one. So that's kind of the way we do it. And so I'm experienced in the flipping. I do have some rentals. I own a dumpster company. That's more of my thinking for rental properties is every time I own dumpsters, instead of buying rentals, I buy dumpsters. And every time a dumpster moves, I make money. So I'm running the business, and I try not to, I have a driver, and we have about 15 dumpsters, and that's kind of how I do it. So, but today I wanted to talk about, the market is totally different than it was back in the summertime. The rates went up. When the rates go up, people that were looking to buy, first time home buyers, they were looking to spend $200,000, $300,000. And they're overbidding on these properties because the interest rates are low, their payments were low, and the rates went up, and now they can't find a nice house, or that $200,000 or $250,000 house in Michigan now is like $100,000 to $150,000 house. It's a big difference in the size, the area, the type of home, and the payment. So they wanted, so it really kind of created a stall of the market. It switched overnight to a seller's market, to a buyer's market. And even though the rates currently are really at the normal where they should be. When you get rates at 2 and 3% before, that's just unheard of stuff. So 5-6% is really the norm. That's everything that I remember when the rates were way higher than that. Um, but now I think the sellers are adjusting to the new way, or the way it should be. Everything kind of did a reset, if that makes sense. Okay. Everything reset. The sellers, you could take a house, not even really fix it up, and you could get multiple offers and sell it so fast and things like that. So it was definitely a seller's market. I'm not afraid to flip a house. I just gotta, I'm thinking that it is about a 20% discounts. Like if a house was worth 200,000 6 months ago, now it's 100. I subtract 20%. I just got to buy it right. And then when I go to sell it, it's got to be nice, just so I could still fix it and flip it and sell it to a end buyer that wants to have their, it's cheaper to buy a house than here in Michigan than it is to rent a house. Rents are crazy right now here. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of strategies that I'm using now in the in that's might be a little bit different. So, but let me explain wholesaling to you. Okay. And Mark, do you want to state our little disclaimer that we have before we get started? If you're
Uh,
still there.
I'm here. I'd be glad to. So real estate by its very nature can be risky. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You always want to consult an attorney, an accountant. Uh, that's the official disclaimer. Second disclaimer is everything that we say is a lie. If you like it, try it on. In other words, don't sue us.
That's right.
That's our disclaimer.
Good job, Mark. Thank you. I love when you say that. All right. So we got that out of the way. So with all right, so the traditional wholesaling, let me just tell you, I mean, you can see all this on YouTube. There's some really good coaches out there that could give you some information about wholesaling. But what wholesaling is you're finding a motivated seller, okay, there's a reason why they need to sell, okay, meaning they have a problem and you're solving the problem. What are some of the problems? It could be divorce, death, someone might have died. It could be the house needs a lot of work, tired landlord, back on taxes, um, renter that is, not, that is squatting or not paying the rent. They're a tired landlord, things like that. So you're finding a problem and you're solving it. Okay. You find the motivation and you create a solution. You buy it for cash or you get it under contract. Okay. You get it under contract. to buy. In your contract, it states that you have the right to assign the contract to another investor. If in Michigan, and I'm pretty sure it's in other states, if it does not state that you can assign it, then the contract is assignable. Okay. The only time that contract is not assignable, meaning that you can assign it for a fee to somebody else, the only time it's not assignable is if it states in the contract that it's not assignable. Okay, so just to let you know, but my contracts do state that I can assign the property. Okay, so we get it under contract. To give you an example, you might get it under contract for $50,000, and you might assign it for $60,000. The assignment fee is the difference between the 50 and the 60 and the 50, which is $10,000. So you'll make $10,000 on that deal. Okay, and you go to closing, and the seller gets their 50, and you get your 10, and the buyer wired the $60,000 plus closing costs to the title company, and everyone wins. Okay, they got a good deal. The seller is happy; they got their 50,000. You're happy because you got your $10,000. Okay, so that is wholesaling. You wholesale that contract. Okay, and we could talk about wholesaling. We could talk about double close. Sometimes you could go borrow the money and buy it and turn it real fast to make more money. There's different ways of doing this. Okay, so just to give you an idea about that. So there's a couple of strategies. That's the basic that's the basic part of wholesaling. I'm going to show you some other ways of doing it, not just the traditional cash type wholesaling, meaning you offer a cash type deal to a seller, and then you go find a buyer, they wire the money, and then it closes. Okay, so there's other ways of doing it. So let me one of the ways, and if you're not familiar with MLS, the multi-listing system or multi-listing service or system, it's real comp where agents list properties for sale, traditional type real estate. Okay, and someone might hire a seller might hire an agent to sell it on the MLS, on the multi-listing service, and a buyer is working with another agent who wants to live in the house. Okay, so that is traditional type real estate. That's what a lot of people know. Okay, so what I personally do and what I teach people to do is how to contact agents that have properties listed on the MLS. I'm not looking for the beautiful properties. Okay, they're going to sell. I'm looking for the problem type properties, the ones that say the investor special, handyman special, ones that have been listed for over 20 days on the MLS. 20 days is a long time. Um, um, Really 30 to 45 days is longer, but we're used to houses back in the summertime that were selling in less than a week from the MLS. They're getting not just 3 or 4 offers, they were getting in a week 20, 30, 40 offers. That's how hot the market was. Okay, so now these houses are on the market for 20 plus days. That's what I go after. Anything over 20 days. I've made an offer on a property today. It's been on the market for 250 days, forever. Okay, that I'm looking to get. But long story short, so we're looking for properties over 20 days, and we're looking for rentals, houses that need a lot of work, handyman specials, ugly houses, and things like that. Okay, so I'm reaching out to these agents, and I'm creating a relationship. I'm building rapport with them, and I can give you just a kind of, I'll just call an agent and talk to them, say, how you doing? My name's Todd. I'm an investor. I am actually a real estate agent, but I'm more of an investor, and I was calling regarding your listing at 1234 Banana Street. And can you tell me a little bit about it? I'll let them talk, blah, 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 blah. And I say, okay, yeah, I understand that. Okay, well, and then if it's rented, I might ask some things about the renter. What, how long has it been on the market? This and that. I'll start asking questions. Why haven't it sold yet? Is there anything major issues with the property that I should be aware of? This and this and this and that, this and that. So, and then I throw in there, you know, I'm a real estate agent, but I'll let you earn. You write the offer for me. You can earn the commission. So now they're getting both sides of the commission. They're happy, and sometimes I even go look at the house, depending on how the conversation goes. Other times I do not look at the house. I might make them an offer. I won't make the offer on my first initial call. I'm just talking to them, getting them to like me, asking them some questions, and then when I'm ready to end it, I will tell them that I'll say, let me do some more homework. You gave me a lot of information. I really appreciate it. And, but let me check out a few more things and I'll give you a call back if I have any other questions, da, 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 da. Or I'll go look at it, right? One or the other. So for instance, on this other one, I did go look at it because there was a vacant unit. It was a 2-family. It's been on the market. She said the bottom unit's rented, and I'll be able to see that one. But if you want to look at the upstairs, because the tenant left and not in the best condition, but the downstairs unit is in really good shape, so you don't have to worry about that. Boom, 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 boom. Went and looked at it, took a lot of photos, this and that. So I made an offer. I went back, talked to her, and said, when I called her the second time, I said, thank you. I did look at it. We joked around a little bit because, and I asked her some more questions. And I said, would you, if I was able to make you an offer or give you some ideas, I might have a couple of different options that I could send over to you. Maybe one's a cash offer. One might be some other type of offer. I haven't put it together yet, but would that be okay if I sent you that email? Of course, they're going to say yes. So now I would send them a couple or 3 options letter of intent. I call it the 3 option letter or the 2 option letter. It all depends on the property. It's pretty much the same. One's going to be a cash offer. The other one's going to be a seller type offer, like a seller financing or a land contract type offer. And so I'll put that together and then I'll email it to the agent. And the agent responds and we talk about it and we try to negotiate a type of deal. Remember, the mindset of an agent today, especially before it, they didn't have to talk to people like me because they were going to sell this house. It was so easy to sell a house. But now it's not as easy. They want to sell this house. They need to do everything they can to sell the house. Okay. So, and working with people like me. Okay. But what is here's a couple of differences when you buy from an agent. Okay. Then if you're wholesaling and dealing directly with a seller. Okay. Directly with a seller, it's totally different. You don't have to put an earnest money deposit down. You will not have to do that. You're going to get a pretty much inspection period for 30 days. Okay. But when you're dealing with the agent, they are accustomed to earnest money deposits. They are accustomed to 5-day inspections or 10-day inspections using their own title company. Okay. So those are things that I try to tactfully get out of the way or to put in my favor. I want to use my title company. I don't want to put an earnest money deposit down, and I want as long an inspection period as I can, 14 days or more, or 14 days usually. So, those are the challenges. Okay, and normally I could get them to use my title company. The earnest money deposit, it's most of the time I cannot not put an earnest money deposit down. So I'm looking to put it down as least money as possible, $500 usually. And the other one is the inspection period. And I'm usually pretty good at getting it for at least 10 days. Okay. So 10-day inspection, and I won't put my earnest money deposit down until after the inspection. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. And so if we come to an agreement, even if I did or did not see the property, I would get a purchase agreement. They usually draw it up with those every terms. I read it really, really well, make sure everything I want in it is in it. Anything I don't want in it is not. And the seller traditionally pays the real estate commission for the buyer and the seller. So if I'm buying a property for 100 grand and there's 6% commission, which is $6,000, that's going to come off the 100 grand. I don't have to pay extra, if that makes sense. They know how to negotiate that with the seller, and so they'll get their money. So now they're happy. They're not just making 3,000; they're making $6,000. Okay, so hopefully that made sense. If not, you remember, just put your questions in, and Mark will pop them up on the screen as we're going, as it pertains to what we're talking about. Or at the end, at the end we'll answer a lot of questions.
The only question so far has been, is there a support program or mentoring program? And I know you're going to address that.
Yep. Awesome. And then what Keith just had one, Mark, you see that one there at the very bottom? He said, Keith, nice to meet you, Keith. He said, usually agents want EMD before the inspection period, at least from my short experience. Yeah, as you get used to talking to and that was definitely true, Keith, like 6 months ago, but now agents, there's a way to talk to them, get them.
What is EMD?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. EMD is earnest money deposit. Okay. So I explain it to him this way, Keith, is say, look, I buy a lot of properties. I do not mind even though I do, but I say I don't mind putting an earnest money deposit down at EMD. But I don't want to put it down till after my inspection period. And the reason why is because I put it down, I go inspect it, and something's wrong, then it takes me a long time to get it back. Hey, once the inspection period's done, I'll send it. I'll sign something that says my money goes hard, and we get the deal done. It should. So I kind of explained to him it should not matter if I put it down now or later. All right. Normally, they're okay with that. But you're right. That's what they want. They want it right after you sign it. They want it within 24 to 48 hours of your signature. Okay. But I always explain, I kind of put it out there first. And as they're writing up the purchase agreement, just don't sign it until, because they want you to sign that purchase agreement. But I'm like, no, I need to change this. I need to change this. And I make them change the purchase agreement. So I like it. And then, yes. And then once they sign the purchase agreement, once I sign it, I got everything I want in there, and we're good to go. Yeah. Armin Phillips, what if agent requires proof of funds letter with offer? Good question. So there's a lot of ways as new wholesalers or wholesalers where we could get a proof of funds. Okay. I know hard money lenders that will give me one, and I know other ways where I could get a proof of fund. Very, very simple. Okay, so that is a good question, because you're right. Real estate agents require proof of funds. Sellers, when you're dealing directly with the sellers, you do not have to worry about that 9 times out of 10. Okay, and so that was a great question. All right, Donovan, what does a 5 or 10-day inspection consist of? Okay, so in my purchase agreement, I tell them that I need to do my inspection. It's not just and due diligence. I always have them put that word due diligence, because that could mean anything. Because if it's a rental, I need to see the purchase agreement. I need to see their history on how they pay. Do they want to stay? Is it month to month? I need to check things out, make sure that, so that's my due diligence period. I try not to use the word inspection, because that's part of the due diligence period. And I have it where I could go through the house multiple times. It's just not one time. No, if I want to go in it every day, every other day for 10 days, we'll organize that together. Okay. Because I got to bring through, and I tell them I got to bring through different contractors, some investor partners of mine. My hard money lender might need to see it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And I explain all that to them. Okay. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to work with me in their mind, but I make it as easy as possible. As long as I'm upfront and I don't sign a contract and then try to do all that, because I make sure I explain it and everyone's on the same page right from the beginning. Okay. And all right. So, other than the MLS, I've recently heard for driving for dollars. What are some other options for finding places to get on contract or to get a contract? I'll go over a bunch of other ones. Okay. So, I'm going to write that down real fast. And, or Mark, you might be able to pop that up there later. Okay. And how are you finding buyers? That's another that's going to be another one that Mark and I are going to do probably next month about finding buyers, because it's totally different. And I'll give you some ideas. Okay. But tonight, but that could be a whole hour class. Okay. Or discussion. So, but it's totally different than it used to be. You always got to be a step above your competition, and finding buyers is one of the most important things of wholesaling. Okay, for sure. So that's a good question. So
I'm probably going to hold showing questions for a minute because you've got a lot of content to cover.
yeah,
But the last 30 minutes of our event is going to be just for Q&A. So
okay, perfect. Thanks. All right, so that's kind of the agent outreach is a good way of getting deals. To me, we do have a coaching program, and I'm teaching a lot of new wholesalers how to do the agent outreach. I'm helping them with it. Okay. And it's easier than dealing directly or finding deals directly with the seller. The reason why it's easier is because you could actually lock it's easier to get your first deal. Let's put it that way. Okay. Once you start doing some agent outreach, I call it agent outreach. Once you start talking to some agents and you're looking at some houses and you're making these 2 options or 3 option letter of intent to purchase, then you're going to start getting, maybe every 4 offers you make, you might get one. And then the better you get, every 2, you might get one, things like that. So it's a numbers game. And you can always follow back up with them in 2 weeks. You say, look, I know the offer wasn't good. We couldn't figure it out. If something changes on my end, is it okay if I reach back out to you? They're going to say yes. Awesome. And if something changes on your end, please reach out. And remember, if you come across any deals that are ugly, that you really don't want to list, I'm a cash buyer, just give me a call. Give me the first 24 hours to review it, to look at it, and I'll give you my best offer and we'll see if I can make it happen. I got a lot of agents that call me all the time, and I'll make sure you get paid. That's the most important thing. I'll make sure you get paid. Okay. So that's my belief on the agent outreach. All right. But I want to show you guys, everyone that's on here, the 3 option letter of intent. And Mark, I'm going to pop that up right now. Okay. So let me
okay,
share my screen here and tell me when you see it.
there you go.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect. So here's the 3 option letter of intent. All right. So I give a few options. Okay. I put their name up here and date, address. If you know the legal description, you put it up there. Okay. And as you see, it says, thank you for the opportunity to review and consider your property. We are prepared to purchase your property in one of the following ways. So my first option is a cash option. My second option is going to be a monthly payment option. And my third option, you could get as creative as you want. My third option is usually a yearly payment option. Okay. To give you an example, this is a property that the cash offer was, and someone might be asking $250,000 for a house. Okay. And I just go off of what the property needs. And I usually use the formula after you, if you know what ARV stands for. ARV stands for after repair value. What is the value of this property after it's all fixed up nice? Okay. So if I have a property worth 200,000, not this, I'm not talking about this particular one, but if it's worth 200, then I usually go 70% loan to value. Okay. So 2 times 7 is 14. So 140,000. I subtract the repairs to bring it up to that after repair value where it's beautiful. And then I subtract my wholesale fee. And that's the offer that I'm going to make. So if a property needs $40,000 and it's worth 200, so 200 times 70% is 140 minus 40,000 in repairs. We're at 100. And if I want to make $10,000, then I got to offer $90,000. Okay. So that's how I do it. Now, am I going to go to a seller and offer $90,000? No, I'm going to talk to the seller first and see what they're looking, try to figure out, let them give me the price first. They might say 70,000. Okay. And now I know I had to be at 90. Okay. I'm either going to make a bigger wholesale fee or I'm going to sell it cheaper and sell it faster and find a buyer like that. Time is money. Okay. So hopefully that made sense. So here, anyway, cash option, all purchase price of 150, full price payable to you at closing. We pay all closing costs and buyer to be responsible and assume any outstanding blank tickets, taxes, insurance, utilities, and repairs. Now, this doesn't always need to be there. It all depends on the property that you are making an offer on. All right, this particular property, we elected to put that in there. Okay. Sometimes you just take out number 4. Monthly payment options. So if they did a monthly payment option, I would pay 25 grand more for that property. Meaning I'd pay 175. I would give them 15,000 at closing. And then we would finance 160. We'll pay them 500 a month for 18 months. And then we'll pay off the 151 in 18 months. So what does that mean? That means I'm fixing and flipping this house. I'm going to have this house flipped in 18 months or less. I better, if not, I better get out of the flipping business. Okay. But I wanted to cover myself because when I did this, we didn't know what the market was. I didn't know if the market was going to be crappy in this summer coming up or what. So, and I gave myself another 6-month extension on this. So you can get as creative as you want. And that's the one thing I think I'm very good at. And I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I'm just saying, I think I'm good at being creative and structuring deals. And teaching others, like some of my students, why and how I'm figuring why I'm saying this and saying that. Okay. And it's not just structuring them. It's what do I think that the seller is going to take? That's really important also. And I get that from experience, not just, of course, I'm no mind reader. So here's this, and then I got a 6-month extension. Now here's a yearly option. Okay. Where I'll pay them more, because we don't want to pay a monthly payment, and we'll only give them 10,000 at closing, and the buyer to pay the 178 in 18 months or less, no monthly payments required. Okay, so I gave them another option, and this way, the reason why seller financing is a good way to go, in my opinion, is if you're fixing and flipping, is you don't have to go borrow hard money and pay a big interest rate. These are 0% interest here. Okay. So if you're buying a deal like this and you're paying 5 points or 2 points to a hard money lender, what that means is if it's $200,000 property that you need to borrow that much money, 2 points of that is $4,000 right off the get-go. And you might be paying anywhere from 10 to 15% interest. And so you might be paying another 10 or 15 or 20,000 in 6 months. So at the end of the day, it's all got to make sense. You got to make money. So it depends on, the most important thing is the after repair value. If you get that number wrong, then the whole deal is going to go wrong. And then you got to get the fix up costs right. Okay. So those are very important as fix and flippers and wholesalers, because if you get those numbers wrong, you're not going to be able to wholesale that deal. So let's go back to this 3-option letter of intent real fast. All of those options I can wholesale. I don't have to keep it as a fix and flip. Meaning, if someone does a seller financing like that second option, 175 and 15,000 to the seller at closing, then I'm going to pitch this out to my buyers and say, look, I got a seller financing option for you. It's only going to cost you 25,000 out of pocket. And then you got time to fix it, flip it, and pay the rest of the mortgage or the loan off, pay the seller off. So you're going to step in my shoes. Okay. So of course I said 25 because I added my $10,000 assignment fee on top of the 15. So at closing, the 25 gets wired, 15 goes to the seller, 10 goes to me. He steps in my shoes and he takes over the seller financing. Okay. So hopefully that made sense there. All right. So we went over agent outreach. We went over the option letter briefly. So the next thing is another avenue that is different in finding deals or going after deals. And we will talk about driving for dollars. I love that strategy. Okay. But FSBO, if you know what that means, for sale by owner. Okay, you could go to forsalebyowner.com. You could go to fsbo.com. You could go on Craigslist. So you could find for sale by owners and you could call them. Okay. Now, when you call a for sale by owner, I'll give you a quick tip. Do not let them know that you've seen it online or you've seen it on Craigslist or wherever you found it. Here's what I tell them. I call them and I say, how you doing? My name's Todd. I'm a real estate investor. My son, we work, he works with me or we work together. I'm trying to teach him the business. He gave me your name and address and told me that you're looking to sell your house. Is the house still available? Are you still looking to sell it? They're going to say yes. I said, wonderful. I appreciate that. So if I may, can I ask you a few things about the house? See if we could, make this work for the both of us. They're going to say yes. And then I go into the house. Okay. So I'm going to ask them the same things because I'm really just trying to build rapport at this point. I could find out how many bedrooms, baths, square footage. There's probably pictures somewhere online. I could see a lot of things. I could do a lot of things. I could get all that information, but I want him to talk. Why are you looking to sell? I am looking for their motivation because when you're wholesaling, we're problem solvers. We need the four. And of course, I didn't make this up. I heard this from other, people on YouTube, people that taught me, my coach and things like that. But it's basic motivation, timeline, condition, and price. Those are the 4 things. Motivation is very important. If someone just wants to sell their house because they want to sell it and get the highest price, that's not for us. I'm going to say, why haven't you listed it with a real estate agent? You want the highest price? I'm not your guy. If I was you, I would list it with a real estate agent. If you want, I could connect you with someone. I'm a real estate agent. I got a great team of real estate agent. I'm looking to solve problems. People that need to sell for whatever reason, and I'm trying to make it work well for them and work well for me. And boom, I find out fast if they're motivated. It's very important. Okay. So I'm calling these for sale by owners. I'm trying to get a price out. And if they're crazy on their price, I'll let them know. I'll explain it to them and see if we are in the ballpark of, remember that formula, 70% of the value of the ARV minus repairs minus my fee. you could do that. Okay. I get a lot of properties way less than 70%, but that's a good rule of thumb. Now, back in the summertime, back a year ago, a year and a half ago, when the market was hot, we are doing this at 80% loan to value because they were going for way more than what they were worth. I'm back down to 70, and I might be back down to 65 coming soon. So, all right. So, for sale by owners is a great one. Now, driving for dollars, if you never heard of this before, driving for dollars is when you drive in a neighborhood and you're looking for houses. They don't have to be boarded up and falling down, but you can call those. But you're looking for houses that show no pride of ownership. Okay. So if a house has older roof, looks like it's an eyesore in the neighborhood, the grass is tall, it snowed, the night before, everyone shovels their snow, but this one house, you can see no cars been in the driveway. That might be a vacant property. Those are the type of homes you drive through a neighborhood, you get the addresses, and then you skip trace them. You go look. There's all kinds of places where you can skip trace, and you get their name, phone number, and you call them. You send them a letter. You text them. And there's a few options in doing that to get them to respond. Okay, so that's another way. Driving for dollars is a really, really one of the cheapest ways of drawing business. Okay, it's cheap. You could go up to the door and knock on it. You could put a little card on the door, a note on there, things like that. Okay, do you use PropStream or some other type of software to determine ARV or price per square foot? Good question, Carol. I actually am a licensed real estate agent. I use RealComp. I use the MLS. I find out what the prices are selling for. Okay. So here's a tip. Go to meetups, or become friends with real estate agents. Okay. Because a lot of people, I suggest as a wholesaler, you become a real estate agent because not only do you have access to the MLS real comps, and you can get so much information. In Michigan, I could skip trace for free from the MLS and get their email address, their names, and the address if they live somewhere else, and their phone number. There's a way to do that. Okay, off the MLS, and I could I could give referrals out to agents. So someone that doesn't want to wholesale it, they want to list it, I'll give it to an agent. They will sell it for them. That's all they do. They love it. And I'll get a commission on that. I'll split it 50-50 with them, or they'll give me 35% of the commission. They're happy to do that. Okay. Because I gave them the business. So that's why I say become an agent. Also in the state of Michigan. And I always say the state of Michigan because I don't know if in different states, if it's the same or not. You gotta find that out for yourself. But if you're not a real estate agent, you can become an assistant to a realtor. So, and it's very, very cheap. It's probably, I thought it was like $25 to $35 every quarter to become their assistant. So you have access to the MLS. You can't go on showings. You can't make showing appointments or put deals in. All you could do is look at the MLS. Okay. So those are a couple of ways. What else I was going to say, and I think this is important, is you go to different meetups, or you talk to a lot of agents because you're doing agent outreach, and you find out who is a really good agent that can give you, that might be working with other investors, and they could do values for you. You say, look, I got a hot deal. I got this, I got that. If I get this done, I'm going to pay you, I'll give you a couple $100 if I get this done. If you do, whatever. I have an agent. I know how to do it myself, but there's sometimes he'll go look at he'll check out, not look at it, but he'll go in online and really give me the value. Okay. And then what he says is pretty much gold. This is all he does. He does works for banks and foreclosures and things like that. So he knows these type of deals. So great questions. Thank you. I don't use PropStream for it or Zillow or anything, but I always look at Zillow because that's what the sellers are looking at. So if I think it's worth 200, Zillow says it's 150. I'm going to ask the seller, what do you think fixed up is this house worth? And they're going to say 150. I said, you're probably right, even though I know it's 200 because I just made 50 grand off that deal, if that made sense.
Todd, can I jump in for just a half a second? I use PropStream. I use a telemarketer, and I find it one of the least effective ways to get deals. But what you just shared about becoming a realtor, I have at least 3 or 4 listings right now that I've got where Roy Frank, my partner's the one that went and did the listing. I'm sitting in my bedroom right now, and that it, and I'm making good money on listings. So
Right.
what you're saying is right to the money. And PropStream's good software. It's just, and I use a lot of bandit signs. So um, everybody's got their own way, but driving for dollars and what Todd's teaching around the MLS with the mentor program he's doing is really effective because I'm sitting there watching it happen.
Right. Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. We need to do one of these, Mark, like on just lead generation. And then we need to do one about finding buyers and how to deal with buyers. I think that would be a really good one also. So, yeah, we could go on for days and days and days. I'll give you, well, let me just answer this question. Karen Thomas, this will be fast. That's why, and then I'll go to the one you just put up there. How hard is it to become a real estate agent? In the state of Michigan, it's easy. It's a 40-hour class. You could do it in the 1 week, 5 days. Go take the test, and you'll become a licensed agent. Or you could take it on the weekends. It might take you longer, or at nighttime, 2 or 3 times a week. So they'll work around your schedule. They'll have different options. Now, if you don't pass it, then that's okay. I know someone that's really close to me that it took him seven. I don't want to say his name. He might get mad. It took him 7 times to pass it. And I'll tell you, it was my son. It took him 7 times to pass it. And you know what? I'm so glad it took him 7 times and he just didn't pass it the first time because he became so much more knowledgeable and better of an agent. And the only reason he didn't pass is because some people are good at tests, some people aren't. He's one of the ones that really is not good at tests, but it forced him to really learn it. He knows the ins and outs of traditional real estate better than I do. And I've been doing it for years. And if I have a question, I go to my son. So it benefit. Everything happens for a reason. And that reason was he needed to learn it and he's young. And I'm glad because he really became a better agent because of it. All right, so an owner wants to sell the property, single family, and a family member asks me to buy it before they put it on the market. What's the benefits of buying it from the owner, and how do I know it's a good deal? So it's a loaded question. I got to know more, but the benefits buying it from a family member before they put it on the market is you're not paying real estate commissions. Number one, that's 6% normally. Um, you can probably get it less, make it easy, quick. So I'm going to need to know more details, condition of the property, what the ARV is, what they're asking. If it's worth 100 and they're selling it for 100, no, we're in it. We're in business to, what do you want to do with it? Is this, I'm assuming because this is wholesaling, you want to wholesale it. So I would stick to my guns. 70% of, and it depends on where you're at too. So I'm not sure if you're Michigan, but here, 70% loan to value, what it's worth fixed up minus the repairs, minus your fee. That would be my top offer. And then I would go less than that just to see their motivation and if they're willing to do something. Okay. All right. So we got about 10 more minutes before we go into the hardcore or the quick, fast answering questions and answering. Okay. So let's see let me just go back to see what I'm missing so far. So yeah, agent outreach, for sale by owners. I talked about the options.
Negotiating with the sellers by asking the right questions.
Yeah. So negotiation with the sellers by asking the right questions. So just to give you a little example, like the questions. Let me show you some. Remember, for me, just bear with me for 1 second, Mark. Okay, I'll have it here in 2 seconds. It is so. Hang on, it's all right. I got two screens, so if I'm looking away,
While you're pulling that up, guys, I have a YouTube channel and I put it up there earlier. Just do search for Ralph Maupin YouTube or Mark Maupin YouTube channel, and I've got tons of recorded items on there where Todd's taught classes and stuff. So you can go on there and keep yourself pretty amused and learn. Uh, and that's a good resource for you. Earlier, somebody asked if there's any support programs. Of course, I think the best support program is the mentoring program. But Todd will talk about that for a minute. But you having luck finding your stuff?
Yep. 2 seconds, it's coming. Sorry. It just made my screen look a little different here. Leech. All right, I found it. Okay, Mark. All right. So just to give you, so what I try to do is when I'm pre-qualifying a lead, of course, I already said this. I always go over the condition of the property. That's easy. The motivation to sell is very important. The timeline to sell. When do they want to sell it? And their price. All those are pretty easy to get. So some of the questions that I ask is like, how soon do you need to sell your house, right? Um, Ultimately, what's that going to do for you, right? I always ask them, do you owe anything on your house? And I try to get that, any liens, because if they owe 100 and it's worth 110, you don't have a deal there. We're going to have to go into a different type of problem solving, like by taking over their mortgage payment for them, a subject to. That's a different class, but that's why I ask those questions. Is there anything wrong with the property that I should know about? Instead of asking the same questions, because they hear the same, like, can you tell me a little bit about your house? How many bedrooms? How many baths? This, that. I always ask them. I could figure all that out. Is there anything? Let me ask you this: if you're gonna fix this house up really, really nice, what's the next thing? One or two things that you're gonna need to do to the house, things like that. All right. So I'm really focused. I'm trying to be more focused on their motivation. Once I know their motivation, sometimes we get off the house and I start talking about their motivation. I got a, I got someone that quit paying rent. They've been there. I can't get them out of their house or out of my house. They're not paying and this and that. And then I start talking. Oh man, I know what you're talking about, and it's going to be hard for me to even get in the house. Are they going to let me in the house? And I start talking and pushing their pain buttons, right? And here's a way I ask them about the price of the house. Instead of how much do you want, or how much are you hoping to get? What do you want for the property? Things like that. Like, what are you hoping to get? What would make you happy? And then if they say, whatever they say, if they say I was hoping or wanting 150,000, then I just stop. I pause. I might say, man, I was thinking half that. And now I want to see what they say. Okay. They're going to come down lower. Okay. Depends on the person. They might get mad at me. It's okay. Or what's the least you would consider? I might say, I don't think I could do that. What's the least you would consider? Even if it's something, you got to say, what's the least you would consider? Because you're going to make yourself an extra $5,000 or $10,000 by saying that. Okay. So, those are just a few things about talking to the seller. In my coaching program, just so you know, I do a lot of live recorded, or I guess they're not live. Some of them are live. We do boiler room over the Zoom where we're all making phone calls. And then I record my conversations with sellers and then I might critique it and say, why did I say this? Why did I not say this at that time? Because there's a reason. There's a place to say something and not say something, if that makes sense. You don't just want to go off to the bat. If you call someone and say, "Yeah, I want to buy your house. How much you want to sell for it? How much are you gonna give me?" I don't, you're gonna start fighting. Okay. I say, "Hey, thank you so much. If I may, let me ask you a few questions. I'll see what I could do to make you happy." And they're gonna say yes. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into it. All right. So one last thing, Mark. If I could find it real fast, I'm gonna be faster than I was that last time. That, that one book that I have that I suggest I read it 3 or 4 times every quarter. I read it 3 or 4 times a year. Okay, is that's my LinkedIn. Where's my Facebook? There we are. I put it on I told everyone about it just recently. All right. But anyway, it's called Exactly What to Say by Phil M. Jones. Impact of Influence, or the magic words of impact and influence, or something like that. It's really, really good. I suggest you get the audiobook. Okay. All right. Well, I guess I could look it up because I really want you guys to see this. And we got 4 minutes. So, Facebook and
Before we go into all the questions and stuff, and I put some more up there, will you talk a little bit about your mentoring program?
absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so let me get my flyer for the mentoring program up here. All right, the coaching program. All right, so I'm going to share the screen one more time. I can't find the book, of course. I'm just so good at a computer.
This has got everybody's address and stuff and emails, Todd. So when you get it, I can send it out to everybody.
Okay, yeah. I just love that book, man. Someone told me about that a couple years ago. All right, so I'm sharing it now. If you could see it, Mark, the coaching program. All right, awesome. All right, so you see, does that make it bigger? No, it doesn't. All right, so here's the Wholesaling Academy 101 coaching program. All right, so this is what we do and offer. I do weekly group calls. They're recorded. Some people might have to work or they can't make it, but I do record them. And we go over as a group of how I can help you. Like last night, it's on Monday nights, and we might go over some deals, answer any questions that someone have, try to help people. Okay. What's that? Okay. We have a private Facebook community group page. It's private. No one can even find it if they don't want to. And this is where I put in our purchase agreements, our option letters, all kinds of things that, subject to documents, anything that I come across that is valuable, I'll have it there. Okay. And then we talk about it. I might pitch it. I might do a Zoom recording of how to fill out a purchase agreement, just something basic, how to do a letter of intent. I'll record it and I'll put it on there. Okay. So a lot of different, just tons of, if I'm just watching YouTube and I hear someone making a phone call and I think it's very beneficial, I'll throw that in there, things like that. So we have private YouTube training videos, and I also put them on Facebook. We have quarterly in-person group training class, fix and flip walkthrough class. I got a flip that I just finished. We're going to be going through there this weekend. Quarterly wholesale walkthrough class. A lot of my students that are local, they go on appointments with me. They go to the auctions with me because I go to the weekly foreclosure auctions every week here in the Detroit area. That's one of my main strategies is pre-foreclosures and foreclosures. Okay. How to get deals through driving for dollars, bandit signs, talking to sellers, buyers list, everything we talked about, how to talk to buyers, how to transaction coordinate your deals. There's a way to do that. all the agreements, how to find out the ARV. I do a lot of videos on that. You're not going to learn that overnight. How to estimate the repair costs, you're not going to learn that overnight. And how to figure out your MAO, the ARV, your maximum allowable offer. That's that 70% minus 70% of the ARV minus repairs minus your fee. Okay. And it's different. If you're doing a buy and hold, you don't do that. I should have told you that. You do not do the 70%. It's done a totally different way. And that's a different class. And I teach how to do that. That's very important. That's the male, and the 70% formula is only for fix and flips. Okay. So if you want more information, you can contact me, send me a text, call me. I got a Facebook page, not the private page, but TC Deals Detroit is my Facebook page. You're welcome to join that. But if you sign up for the coaching program, you get a 30-day free trial, and if after 30 days you could start paying. Okay, it's not expensive, but if you want more, I'm not going to tell you how much it is because I want you to call me. And I want to explain it to you and answer your questions, okay, to see if it's a good fit. Some people it is, some people it isn't. And you don't have to be full-time into this. I got a lot of students that work a 9 to 5. Their goal is just, how can I get consistently one deal a month? And then from there, how can I get 2 deals a month? How can I get 3? How can I get 4? And still work their 9 to 5. And then, everyone's situation is different. But anyways, yeah, feel free to reach out to me and I could give you more information on that. Anything else, Mark, that before we go into questions and answering?
No, I think we can go into that. I appreciate you sharing that. One of the questions was, what's the name of your Facebook page again?
It's
is that right? TC Deals?
TC Deals Detroit.
Detroit.
Here it is.
Oh, there you go.
TC Deals Detroit. And this is what I wear every day, is shirts like this. I don't even have to think about it. So if I take off there's my thing, Todd, TC Deals Detroit. All right.
Exactly what to say.
Yeah, thank you. That's right, Eddie. Appreciate that, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a really good. Have you read it, Eddie? Phil M. Jones is the author, Carol. And I suggest the audiobook. The guy, the guy that's talking he's got the nicest Australian voice, and the way he talks, it's entertaining, in my mind. If not, let me know, because All right, so let's talk about what's some more questions, Mark? What are the 4 items of interest to get from the seller? Yeah, motivation, timeline, condition, and price. So condition's easy. You just ask about the house, kind of figure out what kind of condition it is. Price, I think it's easy. Motivation is necessary. They gotta be motivated. I would not run an appointment or go out to someone's house if I don't know their motivation. And timeline's easy to get. When are you looking to sell? If I was able to make you happy and get this all done, when would you like to sell? They're going to tell you their timeline. Well, I don't know if I'm going to sell it now, but probably 2 years. Okay, great. Well, you want me to call you back in 2 months and see if that changed? So, that there's no motivation there. If they're looking to sell in 2 years, it doesn't mean they're, of course, we're bugging them. Usually we're calling them, so it doesn't make me, you cannot force people to sell their house at a discount or at any price, right? So yeah, Privy is another good software, Keith. I actually in Michigan, like if you wanted to, it's good for virtual wholesaling. This is good for agent outreach. Okay. If you wanted to do Privy they don't have the information on Privy for the Detroit market. But if I wanted to go into Oklahoma, I could go on Privy and probably get the information and talk to agents and things like that. Privy is a great is great for virtual wholesaling. Okay. Because if you're in your market, you won't need it. You'll have access to MLS, I'm sure, through being an agent or knowing other agents. Okay. But good, good information there. All right.
Todd, I'll just ask a question. A lot of times when you're using stuff like PropStream and some of the software, they'll give you a phone number, but then that doesn't work. So, what are some other ways that you can do research on being able to get that uh, seller's name and number?
Yeah. So they have a lot of different ways. There's batch skip tracing is one. Ben verified. It's one word, BEEN verified, VERF, however you spell verified. Ben verified. It's cheap. It's $20 a month. And you can pull as many names and numbers. You could find out who their brother is, their sister, their husband, ex-husband. You can find out where they live. You could get their phone number and call them, send them notices. I've been on Facebook and I found people. I message them. Um, and White Pages Premium is one that I pay for, and I prefer to use that when I cannot get it. I use batch skip tracing, and then I use White Pages Premium. Then there might be ways, if you know a broker, if you know someone at a title company, they might have ways of getting information for you that other people might not have at a reasonable price. Title companies will give you a lot of information if you work with them a lot, and if you give them a lot of business, they will do things for you. Okay, you could get lists from them. A title company is great for finding buyers, and I'll explain that when we do one of these on buyers. Okay, how to do that. So that's really how. If you know anybody that might know, I'm trying to think of someone maybe in the police department. There's other ways of getting some really or someone that might be, what's that called when you hire some private investigator? Those people have access to things that no one does. So those are some other ways. You just got to always be looking for if you're getting a lot of people you can't reach, you got to find out. You got to find other ways of doing it. Of getting it. You just got to keep searching. That's the hardest part, is getting the right phone number. In my mind, that's the hardest part.
Yeah, those were some great things you gave. Hey guys, the good news is this will get posted to my YouTube channel. It'll be on my Facebook. It'll be on my LinkedIn. So you'll be able to go back and listen to it if you didn't get questions. And then you can always text Todd, or I think I show my email during it too. So I just want to let you know, we don't get everything answered tonight. We'll get it answered for you.
Awesome.
That's
So,
and if I missed a question, maybe put it back in. I also wanted to acknowledge Eddie Williams. He runs our local group. We meet on the third Tuesday of every month when the weather permits. In the winter, we do a lot of these Zooms. And he's lined up a speaker next month, which is a CPA that's going to talk about, his name's Frank Alcini, and he's going to talk about all your tax questions and answer them. So he'll be on this with us next month, Tuesday.
Yeah, he's an investor-friendly CPA. That's what you need. You just can't hire any CPA. There's strategies behind it, because that's another business in itself. Is once you get to a certain point, the next step is how do you legally not pay taxes? There's ways of doing it, meaning you buy rental properties, you set up the way you do your business certain ways, so there's ways of doing it course, I'm not that attorney, but that's what you got to do. Anyone before we wrap this up? Anyone have any other comments or questions that they want to share? And Mark,
Yeah, I
I got
appreciate
one
everybody
thing.
being on. You got one?
I got something. I'm going to share my screen
I had to mute
because now I
myself
feel
a few times. That's my dog in the background. She started snoring really loud.
that's the book. It's an audio book. Exactly What to Say: The Magic Words for Influence and Impact by Phil M. Jones. Okay. Awesome. Thanks. All right. So I think that's anything. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's it. Yeah. Or here's one here. For a seller who's not responding, how frequently would you reach out? I have two sellers my VA got for me in mid-December, and they both haven't been responding. Okay, got it. Um, I would always try. You know, I would send them different text messages. I would send them emails. I would call them. I would send them a letter. There's a reason why they're not responding. I would try to reach a family. I'm going to keep bugging them every way I can, reaching other people until I make them either they're going to sell me the house, they're going to tell me where to go. If you, I don't want to say it, they're going to tell me to hit the road, Jack, something like that. But yeah, just it's, follow up Fridays or Wednesdays. You got to try them in different times, different days. And I got a really good text message. I got so many things that I even forget, but I do have a nice text message. I text people that probably it says something like, I understand pretty much no response means here. I think this is important. Let me tell you. Let me just see if I can find it real fast. And I have VAs that work for me and some other things. But here, let me just see here. If there's any, let's see. This is my, here it might be. Like I might say, hi, Mr. Jones, or hi, John. Todd here. I hope you and your family are doing well. We have tried to reach you a few times regarding buying your property on whatever, Banana Street. No response typically means you're no longer interested. Is this the case? Something like that. I usually get a response back after that. So, all right. And then I originally was thinking, there you go. Hey, Lewis. Hey, Jessica, what's happening? Jessica's, we would do a lot of work together. She's in the program. It says, I've tried to reach you a few times to see if you're ready to work with me. No response typically means you're no longer interested. Is this the case? Man, that sounds just like what I said. Good job. Yeah, that's a great one. I love it. What up? What up? All right. You still there, Mark, or did he take off?
I'm here. I just
All
keep
right.
muting myself because of the dog.
Yeah. Hey, Keith. Yeah. VA virtual assistant is, I have a couple VAs that work with me and very reasonable. They work hard. You got to manage them. You got to teach them. You got to train them. And my suggestion is you should have live Zoom meetings 2, 3, 4 times a week for at least an hour just to go over what they're doing, how they're doing it, answer any questions they
We're,
have, and try to train them up.
we're in the process of hiring 5 VAs. So if you guys email me, I don't know the name of the website, I'll get it. I'll try to run in and find it right now. But it's an incredible website. You can actually hire somebody from the Philippines for like $328 a month, 40 hours a week. And it's got all their resumes on there, and you can interview them. And so that's a good source. I'll put that
That
up for
that
everybody.
sounds like it's like $2-3 an hour.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good wage. I mean, it's not a, $4 an hour is a really good wage over there. All right, so that sounds like that's probably above average wage over there, believe it or not.
Yeah. So you gotta look for world labor, because otherwise it makes things tough.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. You can't.
and they speak very fluent English. So
Yeah, they speak better English than I do, actually.
I
Yeah.
found the site, guys. So I'm gonna drop it onto the comments here. Just give me a second.
Hey, Nicole, what's happening? Nicole Tedder's on. Keith, what city, what state are you in? If you said it, I missed it. If you're listening.
That's the site in the Philippines that you can go on to hire people.
Nice. All right. So, well, this is really the first time that Mark and I have used this platform. Um, would love your response if you thought it was good or whatnot. It's a little different than Zoom, but I kind of like it better. I just got to get better with it. All right,
Yeah.
you're in Dallas. Nice to know that. I know I got some good friends in Dallas right now in the real estate arena, so feel free to reach out, and I could always, connect you.
Yeah. We really appreciate you sticking with us and letting us test the new software on you. But give us feedback on that if you could. Appreciate it. See if it was a good presentation the way we did it.
Yep. Yeah. Just so you guys know me, I'm really not a speaker, as you can see. But you know what? I just come out here and try to, give you the best and most knowledge that I have. So, and try to be honest, open, not try to be honest, but, just give you everything I know and have, and I'll tell you the way it is. And we go from there. So,
Keith,
it didn't work.
I saw it didn't work well on your phone. This is all getting recorded to YouTube and stuff, so you'll be able to go on that YouTube channel and get it. I apologize for that. Great webinar, great platform.
So, hey, Mark, the last thing, I guess I'll give some information so I've never before, the way I would meet my buyers is through Facebook and face to face at meetups. You could do a lot there, but I suggest LinkedIn, get a really good LinkedIn page, Instagram, which I don't like, but I got to do it. Of course, Facebook. Bigger Pockets is huge. Bigger Pockets is huge for me. Okay. And I'm meeting sellers that want to invest in Detroit. I just sold one last week, and I met a really nice guy from California. I set him up with the right people, and I'm going to sell him another house. I'll make sure he succeeds because he's going to keep buying houses from me, and he knows other people that will too. So Bigger Pockets is also really good, but LinkedIn, Bigger Pockets, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and the title companies, all kinds of things like that. So that'll be another class. All right. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. Awesome. All right. All right, Mark. I think we had it. I think we did it.
We appreciate you guys. Thanks. I'm going to end the broadcast now.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone. Crush it this week.